The evening sky over Ellington had always been spectacular, but tonight it was extraordinary. Stars glittered like fragments of crystal scattered carelessly across black velvet, untouched by the worries of the sleepy Indiana town below. Fields stretched quietly into the horizon, bathed in the faint silver light of the crescent moon. Ellington was a quiet place, remote, peaceful, predictable, and Sheriff Nolan Hart appreciated that peace. He leaned back in a chair at the police station, sipping coffee grown bitterly cold, staring absent-mindedly at paperwork piled high on his desk. The paperwork never ended, each day blurring into the next in comforting routine. A sudden, distant rumble tore Nolan from his reverie. He leaned forward, ears pricked. The rumble grew swiftly into a deafening roar, shaking the window panes and rattling the aged wooden desk beneath his fingertips. Nolan sprang to his feet, abandoning the coffee as he sprinted toward the door, just in time to witness a dazzling streak of emerald fire tearing through the night sky above. The object blazed downward, trailing brilliant sparks, casting an otherworldly glow over fields and rooftops. Nolan froze, staring in stunned disbelief as it crashed violently beyond the outskirts of town, sending a plume of fire and smoke high into the heavens. His heart hammered in his chest, adrenaline chasing away any semblance of routine. Within moments, Nolan was racing down empty roads toward the crash site, sirens splitting the peaceful night. Upon arrival, he slammed his cruiser to a halt, headlights cutting sharply through thick clouds of dust and dirt. He exited cautiously, breath shallow, boots sinking into freshly churned earth, corn stalks crunching beneath his feet. The air was thick, tasting of smoke, dust, and something metallic and strange. At the heart of the field lay a deep, smoldering crater, glowing faintly from the intense heat. Corn stalks lay snapped and scorched around the edge. Nolan took tentative steps toward it, flashlight casting jittery beams across twisted terrain. He felt like an intruder on an alien world, despite standing on land he'd known all his life. Behind him, more vehicles arrived, headlights throwing long shadows. Townsfolk gathered rapidly, murmuring anxiously, their excitement and fear tangible. But Nolan barely registered their arrival. His attention was wholly captured by what lay within the crater. At the crater's center rested a vessel that defied human imagination, sleek and streamlined, reflecting starlight in colors Nolan had never seen, hues impossible to describe. It hummed softly, pulsing faintly as though alive. A chill crawled up Nolan's spine. He'd expected a meteorite or military aircraft debris, not this profound proof of something beyond humanity. Sheriff Hart turned abruptly, shouting orders to keep curious onlookers at a safe distance. The small-town sheriff, accustomed to disputes over livestock or late-night brawls, found himself suddenly thrust into the unimaginable. Before he could fully absorb the reality of the moment, the craft emitted a sharp hiss, and part of its smooth hull folded outward, seamlessly revealing a passage bathed in soft violet light. Nolan's heart skipped a beat, hand instinctively hovering near his sidearm. The gathered crowd fell silent, transfixed, breaths collectively held. Slowly, shakily, a figure emerged, silhouetted by alien luminescence. Tall and impossibly slender, the being stumbled forward and collapsed to the ground, limbs trembling uncontrollably. Its appearance sent gasps rippling through the gathering crowd. Insect-like, with shimmering indigo exoskeleton, large compound eyes reflecting the starlight in iridescent colors, the alien was terrifying yet strangely beautiful. Blue luminescent fluid seeped from deep wounds across its body, pooling on scorched earth. Though terrified, Nolan felt a wave of unexpected compassion. The creature, alien, frightening, utterly unknown, was wounded, desperate, suffering. Before Nolan could speak, a low, mournful vibration emitted from the being, a sound that penetrated him to his core, speaking of pain beyond language. The murmurs rose sharply among townsfolk, a mixture of fear, awe, and morbid fascination. Nolan turned, shouting urgently for calm, waving his arms to keep them back. Emergency sirens wailed louder now, rapidly closing in. He glanced toward the road, seeing paramedics and emergency vehicles rushing onto the scene. Leading them was Dr. Evelyn Carter, chief trauma surgeon from Ellington Memorial. Her usually composed face reflected shock and disbelief, but her stride was purposeful. She reached Nolan quickly, medical bag clutched tightly. "What do we have?" Evelyn asked, eyes wide, scanning the scene, struggling to hide her astonishment. "Something alive," Nolan replied, voice tight, motioning toward the wounded alien. "Something hurt." Without hesitation, Evelyn pushed forward, carefully approaching the being, kneeling gently beside it. Her trained eyes assessed injuries she barely understood. Though every logical instinct screamed caution, compassion and duty took precedence. "Can you understand me?" she asked softly, voice barely above a whisper, uncertain the creature would comprehend her words. The alien shifted slightly, its compound eyes locking weakly onto hers. Evelyn's breath caught as it nodded faintly, a universal gesture of desperation and hope. "Get a stretcher," she shouted sharply, galvanized into action. Emergency personnel hesitated briefly, then obeyed, inspired by Evelyn's decisive authority. Nearby, Amir Patel, an astrophysicist visiting Ellington's small university, stood transfixed, eyes wide with awe and disbelief. He had studied stars, galaxies, theoretical possibilities, but nothing had prepared him for seeing extraterrestrial life firsthand. Curiosity battled apprehension, but as he saw Evelyn trying desperately to stabilize the being, he knew he had to help. Rushing to Evelyn's side, Amir whispered urgently, "We don't know its biology. Anything we do might harm it." Evelyn looked back, determination fierce in her gaze. "If we do nothing, it dies. Help me." Moved by her resolve, Amir nodded silently, joining the frantic effort. Their collaboration became a symbolic act of humanity's first encounter, grounded not in fear or exploitation, but compassion and scientific curiosity. Meanwhile, Marcus Lee, a young journalist, recorded everything shakily on his smartphone. Adrenaline coursed through him, hands trembling. This moment, unprecedented, shocking, was destined to reshape human history. His live stream quickly surged with viewers, the world rapidly turning its attention toward the unfolding drama in Ellington. Within moments, the alien was carefully secured on a stretcher. Emergency workers moved cautiously, guided by Evelyn's calm yet insistent commands. As the stretcher was loaded into an ambulance, Evelyn turned back, eyes meeting Nolan's in a silent exchange of uncertainty and wonder. The ambulance doors slammed shut, and the vehicle moved swiftly toward the hospital, a surreal procession of emergency lights illuminating the darkened fields. Sheriff Nolan Hart watched silently as the convoy faded into the distance. The crowd lingered, murmuring excitedly, their lives permanently altered by the night's events. Nolan, too, knew his quiet life in Ellington was changed forever. Yet beneath his uncertainty was a faint flicker of pride. Tonight humanity had instinctively chosen empathy over fear. Above, stars continued twinkling impassively, indifferent to humanity's small dramas. But unknown to Nolan or Evelyn, a far larger audience was watching from across the galaxy. The Celestial Concord had long dismissed humanity as insignificant, primitive, consumed by self-interest and violence. But tonight, their perspective began to shift. Tonight, an act of compassion challenged their deeply held beliefs about what made a civilization advanced. In the quiet aftermath, as Nolan stared into the crater, bathed in gentle moonlight, he felt the weight of history pressing down upon Ellington, upon Earth. Humanity's first response to an injured stranger from the stars had been kindness, selflessness, and courage. And soon, the galaxy would take notice. Far beyond Earth's blue skies and gentle fields, countless light years away, stood the grand chamber of the Celestial Concord. It was an ancient structure, suspended majestically within the glowing nebula of Orion's belt. Constructed of glassy crystal and gleaming alloys unknown on Earth, it hovered silently, a monument to millennia of interstellar cooperation and fragile peace. Inside the chamber, members of the Concord convened, representatives from dozens of advanced civilizations gathered in a wide, amphitheater-like arena. Each delegate occupied a translucent pod, floating gently above a swirling, multicolored energy floor that pulsed softly, mirroring their collective mood. Today, however, that mood had shifted toward restlessness, anxiety, even subtle unease. At the chamber's center, suspended in a delicate web of holographic light, footage from Earth replayed repeatedly. The alien ship's fiery descent, humanity's shocked reactions, and most crucially, their immediate act of aid toward a wounded alien stranger, Kareth, a refugee from the universally reviled Zalari species. The Concord murmured anxiously, myriad voices creating a rhythmic hum that vibrated through the great chamber. Among them, Ambassador Saren, a tall, elegant being with skin like polished bronze and deep eyes reflecting galaxies, floated forward, signaling for calm. "This act of kindness from humanity cannot be ignored," Saren said, her voice rich, melodic, resonating through the chamber. "We must discuss what it means." Immediately, Ambassador Rylan, representing the powerful Taurian collective, voiced dissent. He was a muscular figure, gray-skinned with piercing red eyes, accustomed to leading through strength rather than compassion. "It means nothing except that humans are naive," he growled. "They helped the Zalari, a race known for cruelty, manipulation, and betrayal. It reveals only weakness, not wisdom." Murmurs rippled outward. The Zalari had long been viewed as parasites, conquerors who drained other worlds' resources and moved on mercilessly. Kareth, to the Concord, represented everything they feared. Yet Ambassador Saren held firm. "Perhaps it reveals something different. Empathy, Ambassador Rylan, is rarely a sign of weakness." Across the chamber, Ambassador Lauren of the Serene Varani, beings of light and pure intellect, added softly, "Humanity's act was selfless. That is rare, even among advanced civilizations. Could this not indicate greater potential than we've previously recognized?" Ryland's disdainful glare intensified, but he remained silent, contemplating the troubling implications. Meanwhile, beneath layers of diplomatic exchange, something deeper stirred, a challenge to the Concord's foundational beliefs. Civilizations that rose high enough to achieve interstellar travel often prioritize survival, competition, and dominance. Yet here was humanity, a civilization still bound to one planet, struggling with internal conflicts, demonstrating a profound act of compassion toward an alien enemy, without expectation of benefit. Could kindness truly be a mark of advanced civilization? Back on Earth, the quiet town of Ellington now teemed with frantic activity. Military vehicles had quickly followed emergency responders, securing the crash site. Reporters descended upon the town from across the globe, eager to capture every detail. Yet amid the chaos, inside Ellington Memorial Hospital, a different drama unfolded quietly, urgently. Dr. Evelyn Carter and astrophysicist Amir Patel stood outside the sterile hospital room where Kareth lay recovering. Evelyn's face betrayed exhaustion, her white coat streaked with the strange blue blood of their extraterrestrial patient. "He stabilized quickly," Evelyn explained softly, as though speaking loudly might disturb their fragile reality. "We adjusted treatments as we went. His physiology adapted faster than I imagined possible." Amir rubbed tiredly at his temples. "It's remarkable," he admitted. "He seems biologically designed to heal swiftly, even here in our environment." "What does that imply?" Evelyn asked carefully. Amir's expression darkened slightly. "That his species evolved for conflict, perhaps to survive in harsh conditions. It may explain why the Concord fears them." Evelyn gazed through the glass, her eyes softening. "Yet here he is, vulnerable, alone. I can't see him as a monster, not after how he looked at me." Amir nodded slowly, troubled yet intrigued. Perhaps the Concord misjudged the Zalari, or at least this one. Their quiet conversation was interrupted by Marcus Lee, the young journalist who had captured footage that now captivated the world. Marcus approached carefully, notebook in hand, eyes eager yet respectful. "Dr. Carter, Dr. Patel," Marcus said hesitantly. "Can you share anything? The public wants to know who, or what, he is. Why did you help him?" Evelyn exchanged a glance with Amir, choosing her words carefully. "We helped because he needed help," she replied simply. "What else could we do?" Marcus, sensing her sincerity, scribbled notes rapidly, then paused thoughtfully. "Did you know the Celestial Concord is watching? It's all anyone's talking about. Earth has their attention for the first time in history." Evelyn drew a shaky breath, recognizing the weight of Marcus's words. Their decision, made purely from compassion, now resonated through the cosmos. In the Concord's chamber, the holographic footage shifted, revealing Kareth as he awoke, weak but alive. His large compound eyes flickered uncertainly, and around him stood humans, medical staff, scientists, ordinary individuals watching protectively. Kareth spoke softly in his native tongue, a haunting melody of vibrating tones. A translator program quickly rendered his words understandable. "I fled my people," Kareth began weakly, voice carrying an undertone of pain. "Our civilization has fallen into chaos, consumed by endless conflict. I sought refuge, only to find compassion here from those my people wronged. Humanity helped me when my own would not." His simple, honest statement silenced even Ambassador Rylan. The Concord members now faced a stark question. Could humanity's act force them to reconsider how they judged civilizations? Ambassador Saren spoke decisively, capturing their attention again. "Earth has challenged us, not through force, nor threat, nor ambition, but by compassion. The very trait we have long dismissed as impractical, even primitive, has compelled us to reflect deeply upon ourselves." The chamber echoed with profound silence as delegates grappled with Saren's words. Slowly, an uncomfortable realization settled among them. Perhaps true advancement wasn't defined by technology or dominance, but by empathy, generosity, the willingness to help without gain. Ambassador Lauren, the wise Varani, broke the silence softly. "We must visit Earth. Speak with humanity directly. This event has disrupted our assumptions profoundly." Ambassador Rylan hesitated, visibly disturbed, yet acknowledging the inevitability. "We will visit," he finally conceded. "But let humanity understand. They have caught our attention. They will be judged carefully." Saren smiled faintly, sensing the underlying fear in Rylan's voice. Not fear of humanity's violence, but fear of a deeper truth. If compassion, not dominance, marked true advancement, then many civilizations, including their own, had much to learn from this small planet and its flawed but earnest inhabitants. In Ellington Memorial, Evelyn felt the heavy gaze of history pressing upon her, Amir, Marcus, and all those involved in the remarkable night. Humanity stood poised unknowingly on the precipice of a new era, drawn into a cosmic stage where their actions now resonated loudly. Yet Evelyn, in that quiet moment, didn't feel fear. Instead, a quiet pride stirred within her. Humanity, for all its flaws, for all its conflicts, had instinctively chosen empathy. In that single act, Earth had unknowingly sent ripples across the stars. And those ripples, she now knew, would change everything. The world had been watching Ellington for days. Cameras, reporters, and curious crowds had descended on the town, hoping for a glimpse of humanity's first confirmed extraterrestrial visitor. Streets that had known only quiet had become filled with murmuring speculation, excitement, and anxious tension. Humanity stood at a turning point, though few truly grasped how significant it was. At Ellington Memorial Hospital, Sheriff Nolan Hart maintained a careful watch over the room that housed Kareth. His presence, though protective, was insufficient against the outside forces rapidly closing in. Nolan understood that Kareth represented something greater than a simple medical case. He was a symbol, an event that would define humanity's future. Evelyn Carter and Amir Patel were equally aware, their restless eyes betraying sleepless nights, their minds filled with unending questions. Kareth's health improved daily, astonishing Evelyn and her team. Soon, he was strong enough to stand, communicate, and even express gratitude. He spoke eloquently of his species' fall into darkness. Once proud, scientifically brilliant, now torn apart by violence, greed, and distrust. His honesty resonated deeply with those who heard him speak. But now a new tension arose. Humanity was no longer alone in its deliberations. Earth had drawn the attention of the Celestial Concord itself. The sky above Ellington darkened abruptly one afternoon, clouds swirling unnaturally, lit from within by a strange glow. People crowded streets, gazing upward, expressions torn between wonder and dread. From the heart of the clouds emerged several gleaming vessels, sleek and powerful, their forms etched by design and technology humanity couldn't yet grasp. They moved silently, descending toward Ellington, broadcasting clearly that Earth's quiet isolation had ended. At Ellington Memorial, Evelyn felt a tremor of fear. Amir stood beside her, wide-eyed with awe, while Marcus Lee rapidly recorded every second, fingers trembling. Nolan drew closer to Kareth, protective, feeling a surge of determination. These visitors weren't here simply to meet humanity. They'd come to judge it. The Concord delegation landed gracefully in an open field near the hospital, ships shimmering faintly, exuding an air of undeniable authority. Doors unfolded seamlessly, revealing Ambassador Saren, Ambassador Rylan, Ambassador Lauren, and a small entourage of representatives from races humanity couldn't yet name. They approached slowly, cautious yet clearly in command. Evelyn stepped forward first, heart pounding, voice steady but strained. "Welcome," she called, words filled with genuine diplomacy despite her fear. "We are honored by your visit." Ambassador Saren responded, her voice resonant, gentle, authoritative. "Dr. Carter, we come not merely as observers, but as judges. You have stirred debate among the stars." Ambassador Ryland stepped forward, his demeanor far colder. "We are here for Kareth. Release him to us immediately." Behind Evelyn, Nolan stiffened, but Evelyn raised her hand to calm him. "Kareth is under our protection," she answered respectfully but firmly. "He sought refuge. He asked for help. We gave it freely." Ryland's expression darkened. "You do not understand. The Zalari cannot be trusted. He is dangerous, an enemy of order." Kareth stepped forward, visibly weakened yet resolute. "I fled hatred and destruction. Humanity showed me kindness without condition. They offered compassion even to one their instincts told them to fear. Can you truly see this as weakness, Ambassador?" Ryland hesitated, challenged directly. Ambassador Lauren took this moment to speak softly, voice wise and measured. "Kareth has forced us to confront our own prejudice. Humanity's actions prompt us to reconsider how we judge advancement itself. Must we equate empathy with vulnerability?" The Concord representatives exchanged tense glances. Saren watched closely, sensing the tension between established wisdom and newfound doubt. Elsewhere, Marcus Lee quietly uncovered information he knew could alter the trajectory of this encounter. Leaked transmissions from within the Concord revealed something disturbing. The Concord feared not Kareth's violence, but his knowledge. Kareth had information that challenged their status quo, truths the Concord sought desperately to suppress. Marcus quickly relayed this to Evelyn, Nolan, and Amir, who were stunned yet resolved. Humanity stood not just in defense of a helpless being, but against a lie perpetuated for centuries by those who governed the stars. As sunset colored Ellington's sky with shades of crimson, humanity's moment of reckoning arrived. Ambassador Ryland approached again, less diplomatic, more threatening. "We insist. Hand over the Zalari, or risk the consequences of defiance." Evelyn's voice was calm, resolute. "We will not hand him over. Compassion is not a weakness. You've judged us without knowing us. Your defiance will cost you, Rylan warned, voice low, dangerous. Sheriff Nolan Hart stepped forward defiantly, his presence steadying those behind him. If compassion means standing firm against threats, then we accept whatever comes next. Kareth came in peace. We'll defend him in the same spirit. Ambassador Saren watched carefully, heart moved by humanity's courage and resolve. Perhaps we have underestimated humanity, she finally said. Maybe it is not they who must change, Ambassador Rylan, but us. Ambassador Lauren inclined his head gently. Advancement isn't dominance. It's choosing empathy, even when it means risk. Humanity has proven itself advanced in ways we never considered. Rylan hesitated, genuinely troubled. He understood that this wasn't merely humanity on trial. It was the Concord itself. Their entire worldview faced a profound challenge. Could they redefine advancement through compassion rather than dominance? Slowly, painfully, Ambassador Rylan nodded in acceptance. We will reconsider our judgment, he conceded. Kareth may stay. Humanity, for now, is free to chart its course. But remember, your path will shape how the galaxy sees itself. With reluctant respect, the Concord delegation withdrew, ascending silently back to the stars. Ellington remained still, hardly daring to breathe. Humanity had stood its ground, had shown strength in its compassion, had challenged a cosmic order. Kareth, overwhelmed with gratitude, addressed Evelyn, Nolan, Amir, and Marcus. Your world is extraordinary, not because of your power, but your hearts. This compassion, rare among the stars, is your greatest strength. Evelyn looked upward at the ships disappearing into the darkening sky, heart swelling with pride, uncertainty, hope. Humanity had taken its first step onto a much larger stage, not through warfare or ambition, but through empathy. Across Earth, as news spread of what had happened, humanity collectively recognized the significance. They had passed their first cosmic test not by force, but by compassion and courage. In the Celestial Concord's great chamber, debates began anew. Civilizations confronted their assumptions. If humanity, young and naive, could show kindness to an enemy, perhaps the galaxy's advanced species had much still to learn. Perhaps humanity had, unknowingly, just begun to redefine what it meant to be truly advanced. Back in Ellington, Sheriff Nolan Hart stood silently beneath the stars, feeling strangely connected to their distant glow. Evelyn Carter, Amir Patel, Marcus Lee, and Kareth gathered quietly at his side. In silence, they watched as a new future unfolded above them. Uncertain, yet promising. Humanity had finally joined the greater universe, not through domination or conquest, but by simply choosing compassion over fear. They had been tested, judged, and found worthy, not by the Celestial Concord standards, but by something far deeper, far more universal. And that, Nolan realized with quiet certainty, was humanity's true beginning.